G'day everyone, happy Sunday. We had a question from two of our patrons, Michelle and Peter, about a couple of things with their new van that they're picking up. They're picking up a new zone very shortly, which is pretty exciting for them. Congratulations guys, you're gonna love it. So I figured I'm gonna answer the questions here because chances are if they've got the questions, so do some of you, and I figure might as well share it around. So one of the first things they asked is whether we've got a checklist for doing their sort of shakedown trip in their new van. So things to check and everything in their first little run before they go in and get their first service done. We don't have a checklist, so to speak, but the main thing you want to be looking at is just running through all of the systems. So you want to be running through your 12 volt system, make sure everything's working there. Your 240 volt system, you want to spend some time plugged in, make sure your charging systems work. Make sure you spend some time unplugged, make sure your solar's charging properly, and then go through making sure your plumbing's all good. So use every tap, you make sure all your drainage works well, check for leaks, all of that sort of thing. If there's no wet weather during your shakedown trip too, it's probably not a bad idea if you can get onto somewhere where you can get a hose and give the van a good spray all around and just make sure you got absolutely no leaks. I'm sure you will be absolutely fine. Then I'd be looking at trying to do a little bit of off-roading with it while you've got it before you go in for that service. So go for a run down some dirt roads, try and find some corrugation, some potholes, give it a good little shake. Make sure you let your tyres down before you do that and just see if anything is work its way loose and just make sure that everything's sweet. Then get it back in and hopefully you'll have no dramas. So that's my tips with that. Now the next thing that they asked, if I can just unlock my phone here. So the next thing is they asked that they haven't opted for a separate solar controller. Do I think it's worth it? Look, overall, yes, it is definitely worth it. The main advantage to a separate solar controller is, I hope that pump's not too noisy in the background. The main advantage to having a separate solar controller is that you maximize your charge when you're traveling. If all your solar charge goes through your DC-DC charger, which it will by default, its maximum charging capability is generally 40 amps, which means when you're driving, your solar won't be really doing anything because it'll just be taking all the alternator charge and it'll max out the capacity of the charger. I hope that makes sense. So by having a separate solar controller, you can get all of your alternator input from the vehicle and all of your solar charge simultaneously in the batteries. So you can potentially double your input while you're driving, which if you're trying to charge up a big lithium battery bank like most of us are these days, that can make a really big difference. One thing they did ask about, it was the Morningstar TriStar controller versus the new EnerDrive MPPT. If it was my money that I was spending now, I'd just be getting the 40 amp MPPT from EnerDrive. It's a really good price point. It works fantastically. We've been testing it out the last few weeks. I can't fault it. I think it's probably the better way to go than the TriStar PWM in particular, and it's much cheaper than the TriStar MPPT. Hope that answers that one, guys. The next one they had is that they've upgraded their EnerDrive package, so they're going to run with 540 watts of solar and 400 amps of lithium. The only thing I'd be adding with that is I'd be considering either getting an external solar blanket or an additional solar panel at your first service or at your next service at zone, or you can get someone third party to do it. Doesn't really matter. 540 amps with a 400 amp 540 watts of solar with a 400 amps lithium system, you might find comes up short if you're going to be doing extended periods off grid. If you're only going to be doing a couple of days at a time, you'll probably be fine, and obviously it's going to depend how much you're driving, but in general we've got 720 watts, so we've got one extra panel than that, and I think it's kind of just enough. Like even we're even looking sometimes for a little bit extra. So look at maybe getting a 200 watt blanket to carry, would give you the ultimate versatility, or potentially getting another panel installed. That's about it. That wraps it up. Hopefully that helps you guys out. Always, our patrons are our #1 priority. So if any of you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to shoot a video, write an email, jump on a Zoom call with you if that's needed. Whatever it needs to be to help you guys out. That's what we're here for, and we really appreciate all of your support. So thank you so much, guys. And don't forget, it's Sunday, so that means 3 p.m. today. It's the best bloody time of the week. It's time for our new episode. This week we're going to be trekking around Caravan National Park, and we get up to a bit of fun in the sand dunes as well. So check that one out at 3 o'clock, guys, and leave us a message. Let us know what you think of the episode. Until then, we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.